I have one that I do with
This one would probably be nicer in the other one. Yeah. Put this one straight. But it's only copper. Is it copper or cobalt? This one's cobalt. Sorry. Cobalt on titanium. But there's states. There's money anyway. Right there is, I don't love that spot because the flame's coming right in there.
John O'Neill's his piece, so he'd be the one to ask.
I have like 40 charts. There's so many. I got it all.
I was afraid that I had
I really
We were building it, yes. Putting it together with out of Frederick Olson's kiln book. That's our reference.
I think it will.
We have one full layer and then a half layer. So there's lots of circulation. We'll talk more about how it's actually built and everything, but you might have noticed there's a ramp built just out of the fiber blanket from where the flame goes in, kind of up. So it'll shoot it up and around, a bit like a updraft idea. And then when we put the lid on, we should put the lid on. Ready to do that?
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
The vent hole is right in this corner. And Carl took a video of it, so that'll be on the video. Wrong way, corner over here. Yeah, you gotta make sure that you've got, I have an engineer friend who drew up the drawings for it, so that the hole, and I want you to take a special note of how the torch is set into the hole, because that's really important. We just fitzed with it for 10 minutes there to get it where I wanted it. So right in the center and right at the outside edge. That's in a little far, and back a bit. Like that, especially to start. And we're going to start it by candling it for a couple of hours with the yellow flame. So I've got the whole firing instructions written down for you. So start it with the yellow flame to bring it up kind of slow over the next hour or so. Then we'll turn it up and orange the flame a bit. And the whole time we're watching the pyrometer. We haven't got the pyrometer in, but... So we got a hole on this side. Important to see where the pyrometer goes. Vent goes in there. Pyrometer's over here. Exit vent there. And then we're going to have our eyes on that pyrometer right through the reduction phase at the end of the day today. And like counting seconds. I want it to come down 12 seconds per degree from 700 Celsius down to, so 750 down to 600. Over 40-45 minutes. That's why we want 1 degree every 12 seconds. And sometimes it'll be like, and we sit around, I've done this with Ginny, you know Ginny Conrow? So we're good friends, and so she's come up to my studio and we'll fire it together. And we probably did about 15 firings together. Laughing and having a good time with it.
Those temperatures, are they centigrade or Fahrenheit?
Those temperatures are centigrade. It's the only thing I do in centigrade. When we talk all the other stuff, I talk Fahrenheit. I've got it changed over there for you so you can do it in Fahrenheit if you want. It's just the way Peter Ilsley taught it in the first place. And I'll tell you more about that this afternoon. Anyway, so we'll get it going in candling. Then Glenn's going to keep an eye on it through the day. And by 2:30, we want it up around 650 degrees. By 3:30, we want it at about 740. So that at 3:30, 3:45, we're going to come back here and gather and do the reduction phase together at the end of the day. And hope like heck it works. And at that point, we'll talk about the build and all the rest of it. So should we crank her up?
Holly, how high will fire?
Pardon?
How high will fire?
I've done this fires in it, so I've gone up to 1900. My beer skin You know, I've never tried it. I've never even tried those things, but I'll bet you this thing would do 10. And we'll talk about why mine might not. Mine is only a single layer of fiber blanket. Glenn's overbuilt the heck out of this thing, and it's a double layer. And we'll talk about how we built it and how I built it. And it's so bloody tight. I'll bet you could do a cone better that easy.
Okay.
It's a little tight today. It's a little tight. And I usually don't put a half shelf on the second. I've never tried a 3 shelf. I usually put a half shelf and then put more flatware on that half shelf and have the color stuff underneath. So today we've got it almost equal and we've got 2 total shelves and I use a nice 21-inch round. But I tried to stack it not too close to the sides. I mean, it's fiber, so I'm keeping it back off the sides a little bit. But it's a little tight. And you're also, you know, we'll have a good look at sweet spots. I think in mine, where the flame comes in and goes up, kind of around and then out the other side. Bottom shelf, kind of away from the flame ramp, in the middle and over toward that, over toward this corner. That's usually where I get the purest results. Top shelf sometimes I'll get a little over-reducing, but we'll talk more about getting the reduction just right. And one thing I'll come back to is that one thing Ginny and I found out over time, you know, people say, oh, it was over-reduced or it was under-reduced. Application and formula has every bit as much to do with the brightness of your reds and what you do as the amount of reduction. The amount of reduction, if I've got my formula right the way I want it, the amount of reduction really doesn't have to make a lot of difference. I can still get some really cool stuff, whether it's a little over or a little under.
Holly, you mean the different prints as well, right?
Pardon me?
You mean the different prints as well have a big impact as well?
The recipe, yeah. So your formula, and we're going to talk all about formulas. Yeah.
Do you dip your glazes or you brush?
I brush.
You brush? How many layers do you put on?
I'm going to talk all about that. Yeah, we'll talk all about how I apply it. So that's, how are we coming up here? Are we in Celsius?
So it's running pretty slow. Did you want to bump it up a bit?
So it's just at 77, so it's just started.
Yeah.
Come back in an hour and see where we're going with it if you want to bump it up. So that's great. Now, how would you like to get all the pots over to the other place?
So,
And why don't you load that one?
okay. So the next firing is going to be the oxidation strike firing. So just to be on the safe side, we don't always, I don't know if you always clean your pieces before you put them in, but we're going to ask everybody to glove up and wash your own pieces. And then Keith, if you could walk them over there, or maybe I could walk you over. We'll just be like little ants carrying our little pieces over there. And then as you carry them over there, we'll ask you to deposit them. And then Holly and I will load the kiln, and she'll talk to you later about the firing schedule.
Yeah. Firing schedule is super easy for that one over there. It's just up and down. And you guys can fire it. You guys can load it. Just you got a lot of room and not a lot of pots, so just not too tight if you can. But usually my strike loads are quite loose because they cost nothing to do. So I'll do a load full and I'll have 6 pieces that need to be struck. And I don't want to wait until next time, so I'll just strike them now and do them. So if you don't want to glove up or whatnot, you can just hold it with the paper towel and clean it with the paper towel and then hold it with the paper towel and bring it over. It's just you don't want big fingerprints on it. Okay?
You don't want us to do it again like we did before.
I think everybody can just do it with paper towel and Windex there. Grab your pots, spritz them up, and then we'll show them over. You can help with
I've never seen
Yeah, that's all.
It's just well apart.
Yeah, just in between the, as Peter Ilsley said, just get some tinfoil.
Great.
Buy the heavy-duty barbecue style. Put it between the... These guys did different. They put a cement board on the top and the bottom. I don't have that. And I'll...
Glenn just built this?
Yeah.
How much